Hello, all you suicide warriors. Dan PELLY here, inspirational speaker, suicide warrior. The topic of this video is stigma kills. The three causes from stigma is secrecy, suffering, and silence. And this drives people into isolation. The stigma could be from people that are just uneducated about depression and suicide ideation, and also just from the fact that people are being mean and judgmental. Whatever the stigma is, and then our own stigma, the thoughts that depression tells us that we're unworthy, we're not good enough, or we failed. I'm a survivor, luckily, of two suicide attempts, one in 1996 and again in 2010, 14 years later. Depression is a wretched animal. It's an 800-pound gorilla on your back. This stigma that I've been looking to talk about and giving it my thoughts for a while. I haven't made a video in a little bit, but when I make videos, I want them to be impactful for you, to know that stigma is a lie. You're not weak. Your brain health is suffering, and mental health. Mental is another stigma. I'm talking to all these suicide organizations to drop the word mental. I think it's a stigma. We're not mental people. And it puts stigma on people, and they shouldn't be calling people with disabilities mental, or from birth, or from head injuries, or whatever it is. It's brain health. From Dan PELLY, it's brain health. Just like any other disease, like cancer, anything that we suffer with, we're trying to recover. So we have to, take care of our health. So for all the diseases we deal with, or all the injuries, brain health is no different. And we have to keep it to a point where that's what it is. It's a disease, depression. And when people start judging, and there's a lot of uneducated people that medication is not good, or it is, or it isn't. Medication kept me alive when I was making my attempts, and I was lucky to survive. Those are the two biggest mistakes of my life. I don't like to talk about the details. I think when we sensationalize somewhat what we're doing with, I'm not proud of it. It's nothing that I'm proud of. Our sufferings do become our enlightenment, but our sufferings also, they teach us lessons, right? So the suicide attempt itself is not a badge of honor. The suffering is. Because when you're dealing with suffering all alone, the most inspirational speaker or motivational speaker might trigger you to do something and get up off your seat or your bed, and it's maybe not last. It doesn't last long. So it really becomes that your own determination, and then the stigma also lies to us. It was lying to me all the time that I was unworthy, or that I was, I couldn't get it done, or I failed and I was successful and I failed. And men, usually have the bigger problem than women about their emotions, that I don't want to tell anybody I'm sick with brain health, and I'm afraid, and I think I'm going to hurt myself, because, we're taught in the society to be Superman and be strong, right? And even Superman got hurt, unfortunately. So we can fall into these depressions, and some people might never attempt, and some people might think about suicide. So the stigma is really rampant out there, and it really upsets me when people say someone's weak, or do it. Or the stigma also, like, don't, hang in there for your kids, right? Of course that's your thought. Look at all the people you're gonna leave behind. It's almost a stigmatized thing, like shame on you. Shame on you for being sick. Shame on you that you should be pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. You got kids, you got loved ones. I love my kids. I love my family. I have family I love. I have kids I love. Has nothing to do with that. When I was suffering, and I won't talk about my methods at all, because I think it's just not good to. But when I was in that moment, and that moment is a very horrific moment, that's all you're thinking about is ending the pain. And if you're thinking about hurting yourself, you need to call 911. I'll call the suicide hotlines. You need to talk to somebody, help you. So when I started making determinations after my attempt, never thought I would go back again 14 years later. I made a determination when I woke up in the morning to not attempt again. Nope. not today, not any day. Because when you start making determinations and you make a short list, the stigma starts to move away from you, because it will cause you to do things you don't want to do. And it kills people. People isolate. They don't know how to reach out. In my second attempt, 14 years later, I said, I need help. Why should we be so afraid of that, even as men? Hey, I'm not the toughest guy on the block, but I'm tough enough. And it has nothing to do with toughness. It's an unbiased robber of life. It's an unbiased robber of life. I'm going to be, really putting together all my years of what was happened to me and everything, and write my own book. And I've already started it. And to show people that you can go through these processes and you can recover. I wasn't talking like this in 96 when I got sick, or 2010. I ran real estate businesses. I'm still in real estate. I'm a broker in 4 states. My bigger passion now is helping people choose life, right? So I'm trying to get people to understand that you can't believe the lies that depression tells you. You can't believe even your own self that you're unworthy. But this is what it does to us. It drives us into darkness, and it drives us into isolation. And then you got to fight back. You got to push a little bit. You got to have a little courage. I said, nobody's going to get me out of this bed after 8 months. No one's going to tell me to get up and be stubborn and stay there and, try to push you out. And if you don't do it yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. There's no magical miracle pill. If you're a person of faith, I believe in faith. I believe faith helps people. As a practicing Buddhist, I think faith has helped me quite a lot, and it's been a savior for me in determination when I started practicing 13 years ago. But there's a lot of godly energy in us all, and whatever it is, you should rely on that, and you have to rely on yourself too. It's all about taking action, even for godly people, Buddhist people, atheists. It doesn't matter, what religion you're part of. If you don't take action for yourself, yeah, I said, I'm never going to get better. So the stigma can be very problematic, because even family members innocently, they might inconspicuously just not pay attention. They don't want to see. Suicide's not your favorite subject, right? It's not your favorite thing to talk about, right? Never is. It's not that entertaining, right? You're not going to get 2 million hits because you're talking about suicide. I'd like to. I got my Never Give Up video almost 500,000 views. Yeah, it just really took off about never giving up. I had to make that determination after my second attempt in 2010 not to give up. And it was really important to really say to myself, you have to make a determination not to attempt again. Nope, not today or any day. So as we deal with this stigma, or our own family members just kind of turning their head, because, it's a tough thing. I don't fault them. Nobody wants to look at it. Nobody wants to talk about it. When you hear it about on the news, or the people that are popular, or, you get it right there. It's right in front of you. But look at all the people that are not in notoriety, or they're not known, dying in silence, dying alone. And they have nobody to help them. They have nobody to reach out. And it might not always be a therapist or medical. It might just be your own inner resolve and your courage. So don't stigmatize yourself. You're worthy. Your life matters. You matter. You understand? You do matter. And I want to tell you that you matter. But you've got to convince yourself of that. No one's going to do it for you. We look for all this recognition, or we look for this, hey, like I matter, look at all I do. But when you start doing everything for everybody else and not take time for you, it's a problem. And I was doing that. And not to be selfish, I want to be compassionate to everybody I deal with, family, friends, even public people that contact me, to be compassionate and give them that second, that time, those minutes. Re-engage, talk to them about the stigma. And, it's the isolation, when you start getting into this isolation. I isolated for like 10 months in 96. I was working, but I was isolating at night. 2010, I isolated almost, another 10 months. So when you isolate like this, it can wreak havoc on you and the stigma that it causes you. But we want to get to a point of serenity that you're okay with yourself. I still have problems. I still have issues. I've had divorces. I've had agony again. But my therapist said, "Why don't you go down that rabbit hole again, Dan?" I said, "Because I learned. I learned that it's going to take my own self determination." And I went to a recovery program in 2010 for 4 months. People that were worse off than me, practicing my Buddhism, fighting and, suffering and fighting. And I can say I'm happy today. You can be happy again. Happiness, that's a good stigma, right? That happiness will happen, So when we look at happiness and say, well, what is it relevant? Happiness, the things we have, or the inner happiness? So inner happiness is something we have to fight towards. So don't let stigma weigh you down. When someone says, "Oh, you're a chicken way out," you want to try to kill yourself. I mean, that's a chicken way out. No, I'm not a chicken. My brain health is suffering, and I have suicide ideation, and I have depression, and I need help. Don't ever let anybody talk to you that way. I'll look at you that way. My mind plays tricks on us, right? It can really drive us into a situation we don't want to be in. And I was a victim of that. So I'm coming from experience twice. I'm lucky to be here to share this with you. But don't let stigma hurt you, because it will cause that isolation and that secrecy and the suffering and then the isolation. So I do recommend that you call 911. You get from a family member, "Hey, I need help. I need support. I need you to be there for me." And hopefully you have somebody. But sometimes you need a standalone spirit too. If you don't have a standalone spirit in this world, that you come in alone, you're going out alone. Once you find that standalone spirit, then relationships start happening for you, and you burn less bridges. And then you might have boundaries that you have to burn a bridge. You have to say, "Hey, enough is enough." Enough is enough. The way you treat me, the way you talk to me, the way you are with me, and how family members can drive you into some isolation and just not, do what you do for them. So things like that can happen where you're looking for other people's acknowledgement when you have to acknowledge yourself. Although it's nice for people to return compliments or return things to each other, but it doesn't always happen. Just because your heart is one way doesn't mean their heart is going to be their way. So my message to you is, stigma sucks. Don't let it cause suffering in you, and see it for what it is. And this mental health thing they call, I'm really pushing for brain health, although I might tag mental health, because I want people to see brain health. This should not be a stigmatization where people are suffering alone, and you hear all the suicides, right? You see them. They're suffering in silence. They haven't reached out. Well, they seem happy. They didn't seem like they were suffering because they're afraid to talk. Until you say, "I need help," no one's going to respond to you. So we got to look out for the people that are mean and don't know what they're talking about. And you got to look out people that are just ignorant, or people that are uneducated and innocently don't know what to do. It's really going to be up to you. So always nope, not today. If you're feeling suicidal, just not today. Hey, one more day. And that one more day turns into 2 days. Then it turns into 3 days. And then it turns into 4 days. And then before you know it, suicide ideation becomes a distant thought, like it is for most people. And then you get your health, your proper rest. You don't abuse alcohol or drugs. Don't do alcohol and drugs. You're getting proper sleep. You're eating properly. You're physically doing something. Like when I was suffering, my short list, I had to shut all the noise out. Just get up, wash, eat, walk, little TV, go back to bed. I couldn't even get through 4 things in a day, never mind the 32 things I'm dealing with now. So, and I'm doing it, because I'm keeping a balance with my faith, with my health, with my eating. Hey, look, I splurge when I eat sometimes, but I try to stay on a healthy track. More like everything in moderation. I try to, recommend everything in moderation. And if something's hurting you, you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be doing anything that's hurting you and it's causing your life to go in a tailspin. So I'm going to leave you with my Buddhist prayer to you and your loved ones, your family, your friends, and just in the world in general, to put that energy out. And I hope this stigma talk gets you to see it's just a delusion with a lot of people, and suicide's such a hot topic and it's such a dangerous thing that people think. I mean, I said nobody should be dying by their own hand. And what I really meant, not to, say that person shouldn't have did what they did. What I don't believe in it anymore, and you shouldn't be doing it. But nobody should have to die by their own hand because it's unnecessary. And then there's regret, and the regret of leaving, and then everybody's suffering that you leave behind. You're going to leave people behind that are going to suffer. And it's not selfish. It's just you want to end the pain. But we can get by this pain. So I'm going to leave you my Buddhist prayer. Good health, protection, wisdom, compassion, courage, determination, mission, happiness, family, good fortune, and total victory. Don't give up. Your life matters. Never give up. I'm Dan PELLY, inspirational speaker, suicide warrior. Like, subscribe on my YouTube. It would really be helpful for me. I do self-fund. So anytime anybody can share this and share this message about choosing life and understanding what's going on with your suicide ideation and depression, would really be helpful for me. To like and subscribe and follow me on my public page. You can look into the description of all my links to Instagram and Pinterest and all of it. And I'm on like 12 different social sites. I'm really getting the word out, helping people. I've been at it for the past 5-6 years now. Finally had the courage to go public. So that's my prayer for you. Total victory. Don't give up. Your life matters. I'll see you on the next video.